Turkmenistan.
Turkmenistan, a mysterious country, is considered the Central Asian version of North Korea, with more prohibitions and a more terrifying, absurd level than the missile country. Looking at the president makes everyone sick of playing the patriarchal system that likes to make laws. Statues are cast all over the road, and his name is given to every place. Women are forbidden to do all kinds of things. They can't do anything. Since this is a mysterious country, the top 10 mysteries spent 2 weeks learning about it. Keep this curiosity of yours for 2 seconds because it will probably shock you. Join the top 10 mysteries to discover 7 weird and crazy things only in Turkmenistan. Turkmenistan is Central Asia's version of North Korea. You may hear the name Turkmenistan is very unfamiliar, so I would like to introduce this as a Muslim country in Central Asia, bordering Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan. The name Turkmenistan is also derived from the Persian language, which means country of the Turkmens. The experienced person said that when they arrived in Turkmenistan, this place was a little mixed between Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, and Las Vegas of the United States. Turkmenistan is considered one of the most isolated countries in Central Asia, with the least number of international tourists in the world, with just under 9,000 visitors a year. Also in the country, they apply an extremely difficult visa policy, making it difficult for tourists. Turkmenistan has 24 consulates abroad and has no consulate in Southeast Asian countries. For example, the nearest country in Asia that Vietnamese passport holders can apply for is China. In addition to the extremely expensive price to book a tour, visitors who come here are also detained by the police and the military scrutiny, forbidding them to take pictures. Before that, you had to have an invitation from the government to be able to fly in this country. For the first time in your life, you have money, but you may not have been able to travel here. Besides, if you accidentally mention politics or complain about the appearance of the armed forces, you will be in even greater trouble. Does that sound familiar? Listening to it, you know it's like some other country. In addition, male same-sex sexual activity is illegal here, and the other person can be sentenced to prison. Moreover, Turkmenistan is still sensitive about the relationship between foreign men and local women. Violators have a high risk of fines and deportation from Turkmenistan. They also discriminate heavily for ethnic minorities. According to Human Rights Watch, Turkmenistan is one of the most repressive countries in the world. The country has virtually no independent oversight. Freedom of the media and religion are subject to draconian restrictions, and human rights defenders and other activists face constant threat of government reprisals. Finally, Turkmenistan has the 3rd worst press freedom in the world. The internet is mostly banned, and all mass media is controlled by the state. The government even forces all Ashgabat people to climb a hill once a year to show their loyalty to their country. You had an overview of the country that isolates the world. The person behind the rule is an authoritarian president. The authoritarian former president, forbidding everything, honoring himself and his family. Friends, go back in time and trace the name of Saparmurat Atayevich Niyazov, who was elected president of Turkmenistan in 1992, and by 1994, 99.9% of Turkmenistan voters supported Niyazov to rule for another term without elections. Turkmenistan's parliament also abolished the term of office rule in 1999, paving the way for Niyazov to be appointed president for life. He even called himself Turkmenbashi, which means father of Turkmenistan. This is the patriarchal factor. Specifically, he used that name to name a major port in the Caspian Sea, and also the name of January, the name of the largest mosque in Central Asia, the highest mountain in Turkmenistan, a large children's amusement park, and a piece of meteorite that fell into this country. In short, his name appearing all the time and everywhere has become an obsession for people, sometimes even dreaming of that name when they sleep. During his 21 years in power, President Niyazov seized supreme power and became the sole ruler of the country, contributing to the cult of personality around himself and his family. For example, erecting statues of oneself in gold or bronze across the country. In addition to naming his name for January, he also took his mother's name for April. Moreover, the book called Ruhnama, written by Niyazov, full of moral commandments, was introduced into schools and became a compulsory curriculum. He declared to the people that if anyone took the trouble to recite the Ruhnama 3 times a day, he could go to heaven. Finally, Niyazov's portrait appears not only on all denominations of local currency, but also on vodka labels, cake shells, tea boxes, and countless posters and promotional paintings. Turkmenistan's press and television are also always full of information and images about President Niyazov. After Niyazov's death in 2006, in 2007, Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov became president, hereditary, and in 2022, Serdar Berdimuhamedov replaced his father in that position. And not only the statue of the leader, but also Ak Khan, the favorite horse of former Turkmenistan president Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov, was also approved by his son as president to erect a statue on the outskirts of the capital Ashgabat. For his part, former President Berdimuhamedov was called the Protector of Turkmenistan by state media and still leads the upper house. He was honored with a giant statue of Ak Khan riding a horse in the capital Ashgabat in 2015. The statue is cast in bronze, inlaid with 24-karat gold leaf and placed on a white marble pedestal 20 meters higher than the ground. So it is easy to understand why foreign countries call Turkmenistan is Central Asia's version of North Korea, equally isolated and authoritarian. And of course, it is authoritarian. How can there be a lack of a series of prohibitions that make everyone uncomfortable? Unreasonable prohibitions make everyone shake their heads. The first is the bizarre ban on cars. Accordingly, in 2014, this country issued a law prohibiting pasting dark glass doors for cars. Car owners will have to choose a light-colored insulation film, and of course, there is no anti-glare. Just a year later, Mr. Berdimuhamedov, the president who succeeded Mr. Niyazov after Mr. Niyazov's death, continued to shock by issuing a ban on the import of black cars. After waking up one night, people were surprised that their black car had disappeared. The reason is very simple, because he likes white, surprisingly.
What the hell?
Because of this, Turkmenistan people are completely prohibited from using black cars in the capital Ashgabat. The government forcibly confiscated the black cars, completely without prior notice to the people. If you want to take your car back, the car owner will have to sign a commitment to repaint the entire car to another brighter color, preferably white. At this time, the paint factory is free to increase the price, according to a resident there who said the price of car paint increased to 11,000 manat, $64.70 USD. Things started to get more absurd when the country even banned women from driving. Authorities have begun confiscating women's driver's licenses and enforcing the recall of their vehicles. President Niyazov also issued a ban on opera, ballet, yellow teeth, beards, and a special campaign to combat lip-syncing at all cultural events. He also advised people to chew bones because the dentist does not have dogs. Let me ask if there is any connection here. The culmination was an odd decree that required foreigners who wanted to marry a Turkmenistan citizen to pay a deposit of $50,000. Next is the beauty ban, so let's see what kind of life women have in this land with countless and strict prohibitions. The fate of Turkmenistan women with incomprehensible prohibition laws. Another interesting thing about Turkmenistan is that the country has a lot of beautiful girls and women. Every time you go out on the street, you can easily come across a lot of beautiful girls like Miss, even if they are just dressed simply, without elaborate makeup. Turkmenistani women are not only beautiful and Middle Eastern, but also very friendly and close. Beauty is not a priority, the women there are not very loved. Specifically, women in Turkmenistan face frequent political and social discrimination. They are not allowed to set up independent women's organizations, but must register under the Turkmenistan Women's Union. Most of these people will be just mothers or housewives, or in the market as vendors, and women make up only 16.8% of the parliament. And in addition to being banned from driving, as I mentioned above, they also have to endure the beauty ban. Therefore, women in this country are no longer allowed to wear tight clothes, dye their hair, or use beauty accessories such as nails or false eyelashes. If you've been following Top 10 Mystery 1 for some time, you've probably heard of the ban on jeans in North Korea, and unfortunately, Turkmenistan also banned them in North Korea. Police were deployed on the streets to arrest women wearing jeans. In unprecedented raids on public places and offices, police also arrested women wearing false eyelashes or fake nails and took them to the police station as if they were criminals, and they had to remove their makeup and pay fines of about $140. A resident of Balkan province said police also blocked women on streets and public transport, asking them to remove their masks to check if they had lip plastic surgery. Dozens of women are believed to have lost their jobs because of allegations of beauty, such as breast augmentation, lip filler injections, or eyebrow sculpting. because before that, they had to sign a paper with a commitment. If I embarrass my organization by not complying with the requirements of prohibiting beauty, both at work and outside of work, I agree that I will be fired. Of course, according to some sources in Ashgabat, at least 20 female flight attendants have been fired for allegedly using Botox and lip augmentation. About 50 female employees of the National Rail Service have been fired for having breast implants and lip fillers. The ban has also caused dozens of beauty salons across the country to close, which is why the unemployment rate in Turkmenistan is very high, reaching more than 50%. Continuing the bans, the government has banned male drivers from driving private cars carrying a woman who is not a family member, and the traffic police will stop the vehicle and ask for proof that the woman is related to the driver. Women are also prohibited from sitting in the front seat next to the driver. Drivers can be fined $2,000 if they carry a woman in the front seat, even if it's a family member. In addition, after 8 p.m., drivers are not allowed to pick up any female passengers, whether relatives or strangers. Now, the women only have to take their own cars or walk. In Balkan province, some women say they have had enough and will protest against the government en masse. Some words from their hearts such as, "The new president turns out to be a woman hater." There is no gender equality in Turkmenistan anymore. Of course, the end of protesters is often to go to jail or be sent to a mental hospital. In addition, the government of this country always encourages women and men to wear traditional clothing, away from Western style. Specifically, what that costume is, I will reveal at the end of the video. And next, we broke into the gates of hell with a fire that burned non-stop for more than half a century. The mystery of the gate of hell that burns continuously. The Darvaza crater, located in Turkmenistan's Karakum Desert, is known as the Gate of Hell because the endless flame has been smoldering for more than 50 years since 1971. No expert knows when the flame will be extinguished, possibly tomorrow or another 100 years. Possessing a width of 70 meters and a depth of 20 meters, the flames flare up from every corner, creating a large yellow halo, which can be seen from a distance of several kilometers. Even more mysterious is that no one knows how the Darvaza crater was formed because it is not recorded in the documents, nor is there any account of its formation. But the most common explanation is that this is the site of the collapse of the Soviet drilling rig in the 1970s. The thing is that when the workers were digging the mine, they realized they had hit an underground cave. So people fled the scene as the ground began to sink underneath, swallowing up the equipment, creating a crater, and releasing methane. This gas is very dangerous, causing breathing difficulties, causing wild animals roaming the Karakum Desert to begin to die gradually. Besides, it is highly flammable. Only 5% methane in the air is enough to cause a large explosion. Fearing that disaster would strike, in order to prevent the poisonous gas from spreading to the surrounding area, the engineers set fire to the crater in the hope that it would burn out quickly, but maybe someone threw a cigarette in and accidentally ignited the fire and burned until now. But they didn't think it would burn for that long. In 2010, Turkmenistan's president, Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov, asked scientists to find a way to extinguish the flames of the Hell's Gate, and that was impossible. Even if the entire crater is filled, only a small gap is needed for the gas to escape and burn again. In 2013, explorer George Kourounis became the first person to climb down the Darvaza crater. He only had 17 minutes to climb to a depth of more than 30 meters, take gas readings and soil samples before being hoisted out. However, while digging the ground to collect specimens, new flames immediately appeared. Experts say that any attempt to close the Gate of Hell is troublesome, dangerous, expensive, and supposedly fruitless. After all, perhaps the best option is to do nothing. And this has become a tourist attraction for tourists, each of which is a bit of a waste of resources with a country with the 4th largest natural gas reserves in the world. Next must honor the strongest man in Turkmenistan, pulling cranes and buses. 100 tons can still be pulled. Turkmenistan's strongest man towing a car of nearly 40 tons. David Melkomov is known as the strongest man in Turkmenistan. He set a new record when he pulled a 38-ton crane over a distance of 8 meters. In order to maintain good health, Mr. Melkomov often spends 2 to 3 hours a day in the gym, so friends and relatives give him the name of the Man of Steel. Of course, you have to have passion to do it. He has had a love of sports since childhood. By 2018, at the age of 27, Melkomov began to have a hobby of towing cars or cranes. In addition to the crane, he also pulled a 20-ton bus that traveled 8 meters. continuing to surprise viewers when he pulled a 120-ton locomotive that traveled 2.7 meters. Let's take a look at how he uses pulling. It doesn't have to be too much muscle, but strength is unbeatable. Turkmenistan's unique dress code. Going around Turkmenistan, do you see any girl who looks like it on TikTok? No, because Turkmenistan women are not allowed to wear short skirts, shorts, sleeveless skirts, or deep-cut necklines. Instead, there is an ankle-length dress with multicolored dots, most of which are ruby, burgundy, or crimson, because according to their conception, red has magical properties, helping to bring health, support childbirth, and protect the wearer from the evil eye. Besides, there is a patterned hat that is always worn on their heads every time they go out. Turkmen wedding dresses are also gorgeously decorated and covered with silver pendants that are said to ward off evil spirits. As for men, even when the sun is bright, 50 degrees Celsius, men still wear giant fur hats, called telpek, which are round hats made from sheepskin and then attached to the outside of wool. Telpek hats can be white, brown, or black, each denoting the status of the owner. In addition, robes and katias with intricate embroidery patterns are also often worn by men. As for jewelry, it is off the table, occupying a special place in the traditional costume of Turkmenistan. Girls begin to wear jewelry at a very young age, starting with bracelets and pearls or buttons sewn on clothes. As the girl grows up, the outfit will add more jewelry. Even Turkmenistan's famous Akalteki horses are decorated with jewelry made of silver and precious stones. This feature, who can confirm that their household is the same as India? However, there is a contradiction. Although Turkmenistan's Islamic origins date back centuries, Turkmenistani women are not required to wear face coverings. Feel free to show your face. It will be easy for the government to apply the law prohibiting beauty. Only some women continue to practice yashmak or hijab for the first year after they get married. Oh, I was really surprised when I discovered the country of Turkmenistan. I didn't expect that there is still a country in the world that is more mysterious than North Korea. Today's video is over. Thank you to the audience of Top 10 Mysteries for following and supporting our team to be motivated to create more cool and useful exploration videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss your videos.